Namaste, Jai Bharat. When you look at it, should be possible for one to understand that the radicals, especially radical Muslims, have very low IQ. Very low IQ. Don't mistake. There are many so-called educated radicals. There are many engineers. There are many doctors of late. And there are many people who trained mostly in cognitive sciences. But obviously they all are trained very well in the interpretations of the Quran as given to them. That is what we say madrasa brand, the madrasa brand. Madrasa brand, I use the word in the sense that a given interpretation version of the religious text so designed to create hegemony in the minds of a given sect of people. This is what I mean by madrasa brand. So they have this madrasa brand version of religion. They have degrees in cognitive sciences, engineering, and medicine, and all those branches. But ask this question: have you ever come across a terrorist who has done philosophy? Just think. Have you ever come across a terrorist who has done philosophy, who is trained in philosophy? I haven't. And as I believe, you also must have not. Madrasa brand, you don't mistake with philosophy. Philosophy is entirely different. Whether it is European speculative philosophy, which is only available to them, is only that European speculative philosophy. The Bharatiya experiential darshan is not available to them. It is not even very available to people of Bharat who are Hindus. Then think about others. That's a little more different, and that we'll take a different lengthy kind of discussion about that. Even if it is European speculative philosophy, even you don't find anybody trained like that in there. So now a question one may ask: are these people educated? Yes. Don't they have knowledge? Yes. You have to say, by virtue of the kind of information they have collected through cognitive methods and from cognitive sciences, you will normally say that man has knowledge, which of course is not knowledge, it is information. Now, to make this thing clear, I would take the example from a 3rd century BC ancient Bharatiya text, Nyaya Sutra, written by Maharshi Akshapada Gautama, just to cite one of his expression that knowledge worth the name must have the property of affecting the knower. Now you underline this word, affecting the knower. If the knowledge affects the knower, then the knowledge creates a process within the knower of purification, refinement. Through a process of purification, he becomes refined. Then you can call him as affected, and then the Sanskrit expression of Sanskrita, Sanskari, etc. Otherwise, whatever you obtain cognitively remains only at the level of information. It does not descend into this person's inner self as knowledge, which immediately can become wisdom in time. In time and through process can become wisdom. So the distinction between wisdom, knowledge and information must be maintained. Then the confusion vanishes. Then why the so-called educated people turn and become terrorists? That's because they are not appropriately educated or sufficiently educated. They have got information, but those information fail to affect the person who obtained the information through a process of affecting the knower to refinement. That doesn't happen. It don't happen. That's it. Simple. That's how we have so qualified people among the terrorists, there are plenty such cases we see. This is because now I am saying most of the radicals have very low IQ. That's what I first said. How many philosophers you come across? None. They have very low IQ, the ability to think for themselves. If they have the ability to think beyond the programmed mind which they have been presented with, then they would not become terrorists. That's the only thing which I wanted to say. If they have the ability to, Western philosophy sometimes, European philosophy sometimes called as analytic ability, alright, but if they have the ability to think beyond the facts or the materials presented to them as knowledge, if they are able to think beyond it, no matter if it doesn't affect you, if the knowledge does not become effective, is also they could become corrected if they are capable of thinking beyond what is presented to them, like the European philosophy goes. European philosophy says from what is the case, you go to what ought to be the case. That makes philosophy. Something is presented to you as what is the case, but if you are able to go to what ought to be the case, then you would not fall a victim to that. So from the question of is to ought, make what philosophy is the European perspective. Forget about Maharishi Gautama's experiential kind of thing. That's still deeper and still more intense. But at least this oughtness has come to them. They would not become radicals. They would think, no, something is available to you as what is the case, and it's only the individual's ability to go beyond what the is to what ought to be. That makes him a philosopher. No matter, need not be of Bharatiya Darshan. Even with European speculative philosophy, one will not fall victim to this instructiveness of Madrasa brand teaching. That's why one is forced to call the terrorists as people with very lower IQs. They have information, and the informations did not turn into knowledge. Far, wisdom is a question still far, but had not gone into knowledge. These are the things one should remember when you talk about terrorism, radical thoughts, and the atrocities radicals do to the others. And when you talk about the other, these things should cross your mind so that you will have some understanding possible. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.